Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel. I want to remind you that as a believer, you ought to look at the bigger picture. Worldly people, they look at their own expectations, because their own expectations are often a reflection of the expectations of society. And society is a fear construct that people collectively enact. So that's how worldly people are. Rarely will you find a worldly individual that looks at the bigger picture. But you as a believer, it ought to be your default way of seeing things, that you see the bigger picture. You ought to look at things in their entirety and not based upon your own expectations, which are often unexamined. And that's why you ought to be renewed in your mind. So look, when something happens in society, don't just look at what happened. That is what we often do. We look at what happened. For example, it can be that there's a new movie out, and a lot of people talk about the movie. Okay, if a movie has great graphical effects, well, it's a good movie. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. So if a new movie comes out and many people, they praise the movie, nothing wrong with it, okay? But if that movie has been produced by an organization which has allegiance to pagan deities, then ask yourself why they produced that movie. Okay, that the movie is well made, because people can make good movies. If the movie is well made and it's been promoted, people realize it's a good movie, so be it. But if it's made by people who have allegiance to pagan deities, that means that they have an agenda with that movie. Now, people go to the cinema to watch the movie. They just go to the cinema to watch a movie with their relatives, or with their friends, or with their girlfriend, boyfriend, or with their spouse. So they just want to watch a movie. They have no evil intention, neither are they pledging any allegiance to any entity or anything like that. They just want to watch a good movie, have a good time. But while they're watching that movie, without being aware of it, they're being conditioned. And at the time, they're not aware they're being conditioned. They're not aware they're being programmed. There will be people watching that movie and afterwards just continue as usual. It doesn't affect them that much. But when many people endorse something, it affects the society as a collective. So if a movie comes out and the movie is praised, of course, when something is praised, there will always be people that are going to resist it just to feel validated. So the movie is both praised and hated. People focus on the praise and hate. No, look beyond it. Why did they make that movie? And if you watch the movie, if it's a good movie, it's a good movie. But look at the scenes. Why do they put certain scenes in it? Let me tell you. When I was 10, 11 years old, or maybe 9 years old, I watched some movies. One of them was Godzilla. Man, I enjoyed seeing that big lizard in that movie. And also, I was a kid. I just like the movie. It was a great movie, especially as a kid when you see it. When I was 26, and I watched that movie again. Of course, I'm 26 now. My brains are more developed. Also, I've grown more. I'm also delivered now. When I looked at the movie, I began to notice things that I think, hold on a minute. The movie is about the big lizard that has escaped. Of course, there are plots that are involved in the movie, but why are they showing this? Why are they showing that elderly lady who looks like a tranny lusting after a young man who looks quite timid, and they shoot this twice? When I was 26, early when I just became 26, I watched the movie Godzilla again. And I remember things that I saw when I was a kid. But I couldn't remember as a kid seeing this elderly, but this older lady lusting after this young man. I didn't see it as a kid, but my brain registered it. Now, I don't know if it had any impact upon me or not. I don't. But now that I'm older, I'm looking at the movie, I'm thinking, why are they putting this in it? And that's not the only thing about the movie that I'm thinking, what is this? Look, I'm not against people going to a cinema and watching a movie. I'm not against it, absolutely not. You can have a good time watching a movie. Or if you're making movies, you can make movies, okay? just realize that those that produce a thing, whether it's a movie or a song, whatever, they have their intention. And if they're not in line with Christ, then the possibility exists that the paranormal can use them to pass an agenda. I'm not saying that those that made a movie or made a song intended to push an agenda. But understand this, some producers intend an agenda when they make something. Others don't. Others just spontaneously make something. And that's a good thing to spontaneously make something. But if your mind is not in line with Christ and you have wrong thinking patterns, demons can use that to, without you being aware of it, to work through you, to work through your talent. And that's how people produce things. And later, you look at it and think, what? It can be that individual didn't intend anything, but if you're not in line with Christ, unclean spirits can use you. I just want to point it out. But this video isn't just about movies. I'm using movies as an example. Okay? Whenever, for example, there is a new church being built, maybe it's a new church is being built. It can be there is this new church that's been opened, and the church has 3,000 members. The church used to be somewhere else in an old church building, or an old Roman Catholic building. Now they have their own building. The pastor was preaching about he receiving a vision of the Most High in the 1970s, as he's going to have his own evangelical center that's going to reach the world. And he said that in that church, and you were sitting there thinking, whoa, the Lord spoke to this man. And in that church, indeed, miracles happen. People that had cancer suddenly don't have cancer anymore. People that were in wheelchairs, their bones were completely broken, they couldn't walk, now can walk again. Or maybe someone was born with a limp defect, that one arm was shorter than the other, and now suddenly you saw that other arm growing. So things happen. So you think the Lord is here. So you think, okay, in this church things happen, and the pastor talking about a vision, so I need to support that vision because the vision of the Lord. And then the building comes. The building costs around maybe 20 million euros. And now the building is there, but where's the building? The building is at an industrial, is in a, how do I say it? It's not built in town. It's not built near school. It's not built on a place where a church normally is, in the center of a community. This church is built near a highway, in an industrial complex, near a park. So it's isolated, near the highway, in an industrial place where you have Volvo and all those other car companies that are settled. And now people go to that church, and they're still talking about the supernatural meetings, all of that. But then someone tells you, I'm using me as an example now. This did not happen, but I'm just using me as an example. Let's say I attend that church. Then someone who is an unbeliever, just a broad individual, asks me, Rashid, are you attending that church of that pastor over there? I say, yeah, I do. Then he asks Rashid, why is that church located near the highway, near those businesses? Why is it built in a business district? And then I'm thinking, well, he was looking for a plot of land, and the municipality gave him a plot of land. It was a miracle of the Lord. I mean, they were praying and fasting about it. And then the individual tells me, look, Rashid, I don't know the Lord. I'm lost, as you say it. I know I need help. I acknowledge all of that, but listen, I can't be wrong, because I don't know the Lord. I don't even know what's written in the Bible, but please think about it, Rashid. You say they're praying and fasting, and you're telling me that things have happened in that church. And I admit that I had a friend of mine that had a grandmother that was dying of some infection, and she went to that church and the infection was gone. I can't explain that. Science can explain it. So I admit that things are happening over there. But why did the Lord give them a plot of land that's so isolated? I mean, if you want people, look, Rashid, if you want to start your own snack bar, your own cafeteria, are you going to open a cafeteria somewhere on the highway in Arizona in the desert? I said, no, absolutely not. How are you going to get customers? And apart from customers, you need supplies. How are supplies being delivered to you? Then he asked, okay, are you going to build a beach club somewhere in the rainforest in Brazil? I said, dude, come on, why are you asking such ridiculous questions? And then he said, okay, Rashid, you understand where I'm going with this? If they're praying unto the Most High, who knows everything, then why did the Most High give them such a location that's quite dangerous? Because remember, Rashid, they have church services in the morning and in the evening. You have children also accompanying their parents over there. You have teenagers going there. It's not just a church, it's also a cultural center. What if there are kidnappers looming around? Remember, there's a small park, type of mini forest around it. It's isolated near the highway. What if you have kidnappers who are hiding in those woods, hiding in that forest, to wait until someone passes by and kidnaps them? Why did the government allow them to build this over there? Didn't the government think that if they put it over there, it's quite dangerous when people want to visit it? And then I think, you're telling the truth. Something doesn't add up here. Then, one day the guy brings me to the church and he tells me, if this place really costs 20 million, how are they paying back all that money? Don't tell me that those 3,000 members were enough to pay to reach 20 million. Who invested in it? And why are those fans over there? There's no one at the church during the week. Why are those fans standing there on the property? Man, I realized more things, and I began to realize not shortly, but little bit realize the guy's telling the truth. Now, this was a parable. This didn't happen. The church I'm talking about, I realized from the beginning something that didn't add up with it. But yet there are many attending that church and they don't see that it's twisted and nothing about it adds up. Look, when something happens in society, look beyond it. And the church I'm talking about, many people of that town didn't even want a church over there. And one thing you can be sure of Dutch people, when they don't want something as a group, they whine and they complain at the governments. They whine a lot. This is not me hating on Dutch people, no, but this is something in this culture, it happens. So how can it be that people didn't want something to happen and it happened against their will and the government is standing behind it? How can it be that church building was over there and nobody threw rocks and that nobody acted out their anger upon it while they didn't even want it over there? So that means that something paranormal is standing behind it. Look, I use the example of a church and I use the example of a movie. There are more examples you can come up with. Just understand, when things happen in society, look beyond it. Don't just look at what happens. Don't just judge a thing based on your own expectations, whether you like or don't like something. Outgrow likes and dislikes. Look at things in their entirety. There are many things happening out there that people take for granted. But when you look closer, you realize something's behind this. And people often are drawn into an agenda without being aware they've been drawn into an agenda. So just because someone is associated with some movement or with a group, don't immediately label them as evil and will against them. No, that's worldly. Just realize people are being deceived. We live in a world of deception. Yes, the Lord doesn't always work the way we expect. However, the Lord is not stupid. The Lord is not insane. The Lord may work in a way that people don't understand, but that doesn't mean that the Lord works in a way that's destructive. The Lord is not always going to roll out a timeline of what he's about to do. He's not going to do that. He didn't even do it with the prophets. He showed the prophet things, but he didn't tell them when. So that's also one thing you need to look out for. If a movement in the name of Christ has visions and all of that, it can be their visions. And what if those visions manifest? Let's say they predicted that someone would become president, and that during his presidency, crime would increase in such towns. Let's say they predicted that 5 years ago. And let's say 5 years later, those things happen. You may think, oh, they are from the Lord because what they envisioned in their dreams, it happened. So they're reliable. Hold on a minute, but unclean spirits can also give people revelations. So how are you going to know if it's from the Lord or not? Look, I'm not here to bash people. I'm not here to condemn you, not to look down on you. I'm just telling you, look beyond. When you look beyond, you'll notice things. Most people out there won't notice. And when you notice something that doesn't add up, don't just go out there and say it as it is. No. For example, about a church. Or let me give another example. Let's say that you have a young woman who is attending college, just studying Japanology, and she, how do I say it? She graduated and now she's working in Japan. And others are looking at it and think, well, she's successful. She worked hard and now she's there. And then you realize, hold on a minute, she can't even speak Japanese that well. She had mental issues during her time at college. That's why she graduated later. And you also realize, hold on a minute, where are her relatives? Where are the people to support her? So when you realize something doesn't add up with the case, you can say to people that are talking about it, well, I really like to see her family members supporting her. I mean, she's successful, right? You can make this comment just to hint people towards something. You don't have to flat out say what you perceive because you can be wrong, but just point it out. Draw people's attention to it and look how people react. If people don't even want to consider it, then don't continue. Because you have people that just don't want to look at the bigger picture. And when they are forced to see the bigger picture and realize that something doesn't add up, they'll become upset and they will transfer it onto someone else. And if you're the one telling the truth, they will blame you for them being upset and they'll become your enemy. You don't need that, okay? So, continue walking by faith and look at the bigger picture. Be at peace.